I ultimately made my arrogant director owe our company over $500,000, and it all started with a single, furious email he never should have sent. I work for a federal contractor, a small company with less than 200 employees. My job is to be the last line of defense. We buy or bundle any hardware, software, or service a government organization might need, and I'm the guy who reviews the contract to make sure it's financially viable and legally sound. In simple terms, I ensure we make money and don't get sued. The contracts can be anything from a $5,000 software license to a $40 million hardware refresh. Our government clients love us. We treat them like partners, not just another number on a spreadsheet, which is why they stick with us over the corporate giants. But last year, things got tough. Our company went through a reorganization, which is just a polite corporate term for firing a lot of people and dumping their work on whoever is left. My team of 50 was gutted, leaving just 20 of us to do the work of the original 50, all for the same salary. I'm paid by the month, not the hour, and there are no sales bonuses for my role. That last part is important, as it ensures I'm protecting both the company and the customer, not just chasing a commission. My nature is to be meticulous. I'll spend hours on a contract, even a small one, because I know that in the world of government procurement, today's tiny $5,000 deal can blossom into a 9-figure partnership down the road if you build trust. But with the new workload, I was drowning, contracts were piling up, and my careful pace was creating a bottleneck. This did not sit well with Richard, our sales director from a different team. He saw me as a roadblock, the slow, cautious guy who kept catching the shady tricks his team would try to pull, like overpromising on capabilities or pushing unnecessary products. He hated that I was honest with clients about our limitations because he thought I was tanking sales. A perfect example was a deal with a school district. Richard's team was pushing them to buy a massive number of outdated, expensive Dell Windows laptops. I knew the entire state was transitioning to newer, cheaper Chromebooks. Schools don't have bottomless budgets. Whatever they buy needs to last for at least 5 years. It was clear what was happening. The sales team was trying to offload expensive, soon-to-be obsolete hardware to max out their bonuses. They even planned to charge the district nearly $1 million for IT support to fix the inevitable issues with the ancient machines. During my call with the school district, my job was to build trust for a long-term contract, not just make a quick buck. I shared examples of how other state governments were saving money and future-proofing by adopting Chromebooks. It's moments like this where you realize your job is about more than just numbers. As one person online, an architect who works with schools, later put it, I know any money wasted on us just takes away from the kids, so I really try to work with them and go above and beyond where I can. It always works out for the best because they keep coming back. He was right. The district ended up buying Chromebooks that were 40% cheaper and required less than 20% of the originally quoted support cost. We secured a 5-year contract, but the sales team lost a few $1,000s in their bonus pool. Richard was furious. The confrontation happened a week later. Richard cornered me in front of my own manager, absolutely livid that I was still working at a slow pace on small contracts. My manager, not wanting any trouble, just folded. He turned to me and said, "Why don't you just follow what the sales director says and stop fussing over small contracts?" I tried to explain. Small contracts turn into big ones. A mistake in a small deal could be catastrophic if that contract scales up. I'm struggling because you've given me the workload of 4 people. That's when Richard exploded. He started shouting, right there in the office. "You don't understand contracts. I've been doing this for 5 years, and I make more money in a month than you do in a year. You should listen to me and not question me." The insult stung. Here I was, living in a shared apartment and barely making ends meet, while he flaunted his luxury car and expensed fancy lunches. I took a breath. I knew arguing was pointless. Instead, I made a simple request. "Richard, could you please send me an email with your suggestions to improve my work?" He sneered. "Can you not even remember what I just said in the meeting?" But he complied. Richard hammered out that email, his pride blinding him to the fact that he was composing the very instrument of his own destruction. It was short, arrogant, and exactly what I needed. His email said, "Do not review contracts less than $100,000 and trust sales team that due diligence has been done." This was my shield. I replied, copying my manager, to create an undeniable paper trail. "Just to confirm," I wrote, You are instructing me to stop revising government contracts below $100,000, with no exceptions, and that the sales team will now be responsible for all financial and legal compliance on these smaller contracts. I want to confirm you accept the potential liability this could create for the company. He replied again, ignoring my warning and confirming the instruction. That email was gold. And so, my malicious compliance began. My review time for small contracts went from 2 hours to 10 minutes. My backlog vanished. I was home by 6:30 p.m. every day. A few weeks later, a $10,000 contract came across my desk. I glanced at it and immediately spotted a huge problem. The contract stated we would offer a 30% rebate to our software providers. This was a legacy clause we hadn't used in 5 years. Our current standard rebate was between 5% and 10%. I also knew this particular government client had just received a massive budget increase and was looking to spend. There was a very high chance this $10,000 customer could become a $100 million customer. A 30% rebate on a $100 million deal would mean giving away $30 million. But then I remembered Richard's shouting face, his words echoing in my mind, stop fussing over small contracts. So, I followed my orders. 10 minutes later, I sent off the email, no issues detected based on compliance check by the sales team. Months went by, just as government contracts do. This one moved slowly, and nobody noticed the 30% rebate on a tiny $10,000 account. Then, 10 months later, the call came. The state government client loved our service and wanted to expand the partnership. They were proposing a new, $50 million contract, the largest in our company's history. Their only condition was that they get the same, or better, terms as their existing contract. Richard was ecstatic. He gave the client a handshake deal on the spot, promising to honor the terms. He knew the government can legally just add funds to an existing contract, so he saw no risk. At that moment, he felt invincible, completely unaware that his handshake had just lit the fuse on an $8 million bomb. For the next 3 months, the entire company revolved around this single deal. Legal, IT, finance, everyone was pulled in. The sales team was already fantasizing about their $1 million bonuses. Finally, the finance team finished their analysis. Their conclusion dropped like a stone. On this record-breaking $50 million contract, the company wasn't going to make any money. In fact, we were projected to lose $8 million. The reason? The 30% rebate clause. Panic erupted. The CEO called an emergency meeting in the main conference room, the one with the big TV screens. Every department head, manager, and key player was summoned. A scapegoat was needed, and fast. Richard had to explain to his own team why the massive bonuses they'd been promised for 3 months of hard work had just evaporated. The legal team confirmed the nightmare. We were legally obligated to offer the same terms for 3 years and had to swallow the loss. Going back on a signed government contract wasn't just frowned upon, it was illegal. That's when Richard went crazy. He stood up, his face red with fury, and pointed directly at me. It's his fault, he screamed in front of all 30 people. He reviewed the original contract. He's terrible at his job. Pack your stuff, you're fired. This was the moment. As a commentator on my story later noted, revenge, while staying pro, is the best content. I had my absolute cover your ass triumph ready. I calmly opened my laptop, connected it to the conference room's display system, and opened my email. On 3 massive screens, Richard's own words appeared for everyone to see. Do not review contracts less than $100,000 and trust sales team. A ripple of faint smiles spread across the room as people read the email. Richard sputtered, going into a full rage. You misunderstood the email. You're incompetent. I didn't say a word. I just scrolled down, displaying my follow-up email where I explicitly warned him about the potential liability, and his subsequent reply telling me to ignore it. His face went from red to chalk white. The realization hit him like a freight train. He was cooked. He started blabbering, desperately trying to find another scapegoat, even launching into a bizarre, racist tirade about our IT consultants in Vietnam. He just completely lost it in front of the entire leadership team. This revealed his greatest flaw. When his arrogance was cornered by facts, all that remained was ugly desperation, sealing his fate. The aftermath was swift. Richard was fired. Even better, his contract had a clawback clause, meaning if his actions cost the company money, he had to pay back his bonuses. He was forced to repay nearly $300,000. He then sued for wrongful termination, lost the case, and was ordered to cover our $200,000 legal bill. In the end, he owed our company over $500,000. As for me, my approach was vindicated. I was immediately told to go back to spending 2 to 3 hours on every single contract. The company finally realized it was cheaper to hire more people like me at $70,000 a year than to risk multi-million-dollar losses. Our team was expanded to 40 members, finally enough to handle the volume properly. People ask why I stay in a job that doesn't pay what I could make elsewhere. It's because I get to help government customers, and by extension, taxpayers, get a fair deal. I take pride in that. As one commenter perfectly put it, society depends on people like you doing the right thing even when the incentives aren't there. Keep it up and you can live with a clean conscience and know you have helped people you have never met. That really resonated with me. During the COVID crisis, I convinced my CEO to offer free trials of remote work hardware to state governments in New York and Florida, helping them keep running when their budgets were frozen. It was a risk, but it paid off, earning us immense goodwill and a flood of new contracts from clients who remembered we were there for them in an emergency. The whole saga is a testament to a simple truth my director failed to grasp: small details, when ignored, can cascade into absolute disaster. He thought he was playing a smarter, faster game, but he was just taking shortcuts on a road that led right off a cliff, costing the company millions and himself his career. This story is a powerful lesson that in any profession, true value lies not in cutting corners, but in upholding standards with integrity. It proves that sometimes, the most devastating revenge is simply letting someone be destroyed by their own foolish instructions. So, let me ask you, have you ever been in a situation where doing your job correctly was punished or seen as an obstacle? What did you do?